Welcome to Space and Grace, the podcast for soul-led entrepreneurs done hustling for their worth. Let's build a life and business that actually feels like freedom. Today, I'm talking to Anna Grace, who is the host of the Virgo Alchemy Podcast and owner of Anna Grace Wellbeing. And our topic is astrology as a blueprint for your business. Anna's purpose is to awaken the inner priestess within you. She empowers you to embody her through deep shadow work and quantum healing. Anna is an astrologer, tarot reader, and mentor. She's here to inspire, empower, and support you to live the highest timeline by being in your spiritual purpose. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here, Anna.
Thank you so much for having me. Really excited.
Me too. So, how can we use astrology as a blueprint to build our businesses with more ease and alignment?
Yes, well, this is one of my favorite questions because astrology was my first thing that I absolutely loved and was my absolute passion. And it enabled me to fall into business, really. But it was initially just an amazing blueprint or cheat sheet, I felt, to understand myself. So when you are going on that self-discovery journey, that's where we want to start by we're actually looking at who we really are rather than who we may have been conditioned to be or what we've fallen into with our career and our personal life. And when I saw my astrology chart, I was just like so activated by these gaps that were in there. And there were a lot of things that resonated for me. A Virgo sun, I love to help people, very caring by nature. So I was a teacher, and I fell into the counseling role within teaching, of course. So there's also these things that we are drawn to in life. And when we look at our astrology, we can go, oh, wow, I understand why I really love doing that. But then there is certain things that for me, I was like, well, I am good at it. I really like teaching and counseling, but I know there's something more for me. And so when I could see that information, that blueprint, I was like, oh, wow, there is so many parts of me that I'm not really living in alignment with. And it sometimes it can be very jolting, or, that awakening journey of like, wow, I'm actually been living by other people, their ideas of me and their perceptions of me. And sometimes we just are living in a working environment that we can receive love, right? We can receive that we're enough, and we feel we get that feedback. Wow, you're a really great teacher. You're really good at that. And I was always the perpetual studying person of like, I need a degree, I need a certification, I need this and this and this and this. And that's how I'm going to feel like worthy. And so in business, I think when we are running our own business, we are still kind of seeking a bit of that. Like, how can we serve? How can we help? Which was definitely came in with my Virgo, and there's a lot more to it, of like why I was called to do astrology. But then it was like, okay, I actually am really here to run my own business, not be not be told what to do. And sometimes as a teacher, you have that autonomy within your classroom, and then it kind of these skills they transferred into, I can have my own business, I can actually do it my own way and not be I suppose be concerned about how other people might, I suppose, perceive me, because it was like rebuilding who I really was. So it was such a great opportunity for me to see where those gaps were and lean into them, or actually challenge them. Challenge, like, oh, okay, my Mercury is my speaking planet, my communication planet is in Leo, which is like being the star, being the entertainer, and being really in the limelight. That was directly opposing my Virgo, which is like, I just want to be on the sidelines. I don't want anyone to see me. I love to do good work. I am a good workhorse. Like, I can do all the things, but I don't really want to have my name up in lights. And so when I could see that, oh, wow, I actually am meant to be here to speak. and I have my own podcast now. And it was a big wound that I had to work on to step more and more into my voice, to be able to express and to not be shy about, what it is that I have to say. And that's where I love astrology, because it gives us our strengths and opens us up to these challenges that we really need to just lean into and go for it. Because as we do that, it's not so hard after a while, because we're just leaning into our true alignment. And it's written on the piece of paper, like, you can do this. So there's that evidence that a lot of humans need, where we go, oh well, I don't have the evidence that I can do it, so therefore I can't do it. And when we actually go, well, maybe I'll just experiment, and life is an experiment anyway, and a little bit of this information tells me, I could actually be okay about this, and this could feel really good. And how amazing if I could actually be in that, in my business all the time.
I love this so much because there is so much conditioning, and you usually start out in some sort of corporate or some sort of job, and then you break out into entrepreneurship because there's something you really want to do, but you're taking that same skill set into your business, and then sometimes you're a worse boss than any boss you've ever had, right? You're mean, you don't congratulate yourself, you don't celebrate yourself. You start doing tasks because somebody's told you, or you've learned from a book or a course or whatever, that you must be doing these things. And you're like, right, I hate this, but I'm going to do it because I got told to do it. And then you just end up with this business baby monster that you hate and burns you out. So, okay, so just go back to the chart. Like, what's the first step? Because I've had my human design chart done, but I've never had an astrology chart done. I know I'm Cancerian. I know I'm very sensitive with a hard exterior, and that is the extent of it. I have no idea how to use my chart, read my chart. I know there's like a moon and there's a sun, or there's so many
Yeah.
bits, right?
So, yeah.
So where do you get your chart done? Do you do that for people first of all?
Yes, so I definitely do natal chart readings, which is from birth, so the blueprint at birth. And there's so much to it. Like, there's so much amazing information within it. I don't do that service as much anymore, because I've gone into more like spiritual mentorship. But within my mentorship, that is always my go-to at the very beginning, to understand somebody. So as a mentor, I can understand where they're at and where they may not be in alignment, just by using that document. And you can get your chart done online for free in terms of the basics, right? Same with human design. You get the basics, and then it's about really going a little bit further into each planet. And the planetary placements will give us that information. But the way to start really is that the moon sign is more your emotional self. So sometimes with online business, right, people actually want to see that. They want to see that more. And I will just speak to my chart, as I don't have your chart up, but it's like the moon sign is usually in a private space. So we feel comfortable to be our moon sign when we're around like family and friends. So when we're building rapport with clients, they want to understand us. They want to listen to our like our hobbies and our interests and our perhaps our family life, and a little insight. Doesn't mean that we want to like overshare too much, but our moon sign is that way through of going, okay, people might not understand that this is a part of me, like this is another layer to me. So we focus so much on our sun, which is our star sign, and our rising sign, which is actually where the sun was rising on that day that you were born. And the rising sign is how everyone else sees us. It's the external view. So as we kind of step into business, you would assume that that's our main placement that we showcase, because it's our external view. But a lot of people do want to see all parts of self when we're on this new, having our own business and really truly being in alignment. We want to be able to showcase all of them. So we can sometimes have some conflict between, our moon, sun, and rising, as like, wow, like you might be a Cancerian in your star sign, it's sun sign, But you may have the opposing energy of the Capricorn, which is the businesswoman. And the Cancer is the mother archetype. So you may have this like push pull of like, well, I really want to be caring and look after everyone and help, and but not at the sacrifice of like not earning any money in my business. Like it can create these patterns or beliefs or blocks. And that's where it can get really exciting, I suppose. Well, from my point of view, I'm like, yes, what's in there that we can actually understand more? What are these push pulls that create that perhaps inner tension of how we want to present ourselves in our business, how we want to work with clients? And, I'll speak to my chart. I have a Scorpio rising, which is all about the taboo things. So, of course, I do past life healing, I do deep quantum healing. It's about a real a descent into deep shadow so that you can be the healer or to be the light. And, there's only like really Scorpios are the ones that love to go all the way in deep into the emotional well, pull out all the shadow, and then so we can rise like a phoenix. And so I've been stepping more and more and more into this part of me, and actually letting go a lot of the Virgo shadow, which we all have these, and there'll be ways that we go, well, I'm a Virgo, so that's it. I just need to sacrifice myself and help everyone. And I'm not going to, ask for support. I'm going to make sure everything's perfect. I don't really want to, I'm such a harsh critic. It's never going to be good enough. Like we can over attach to these things as well. And we can, we can kind of dance around these different placements and use them as like a marketing kind of approach to allow people into our lives and understand who we are and what it's like to actually work with us.
That's so interesting because, yeah, I'm just going back to like just being conditioned and being taught how to behave and what to do and what strategies to employ in your business. And what I love about this is that, I mean, none of us want to have a business like, our neighbor or, somebody else, right? We want to have these unique businesses, but we're not usually taught how. So, so what I'm hearing is that I could get my natal chart read, and that's going to help inform how I market, the strategies that I do in my business. Can it even kind of tell me what sort of like who my ideal client would be? Or yeah.
Yeah, definitely
Ooh.
can. So I know, right? So we have this the purpose planet, which is the North Node or the North Star, and our South Node, which is what we have been doing many, many lifetimes for. So sometimes that can help us to see where our comfort zone is. So if we're playing it small and we're not really diving in, it will showcase that within our South Node of like, this is what you are really good at, but this is what you want to move into more. So I'll give you an example from my chart is that my North Node is Aries, and Aries it's actually just been the nodal return. So I've had my nodal return, the nodes have returned to where they were at my birth. And everyone has been moving through this transit. It's actually about self versus others. So Libra is about people pleasing, making sure everyone's all happy and the mediator, and always kind of giving ourself to other people's dreams. But Aries is about following our path, our independence. And so sometimes it will actually help us to see what our client, who we are calling in, and our clients, because a lot of people come to me that want more fire, which is, maybe they don't have as much of that motivation or that, the confidence to stand and speak and be on video and showcase their truth. And Aries is all about that. So I had to organically step more into that and step away from the people pleasing and doing things for other people. And therefore, often I get people coming to me that they want to be an Aries archetype. They want to be the warrior and doing things their own independent way and listening also to their intuition that it's guiding them. rather than doing things for other people. So that's just like one example. But we will see within our astrology chart also about our balance. So the elemental balance is how much earth, air, water, and fire we have. And this is like personality type, really. So if we have lots of earth, we're very structured, at times fixed. The worker, the perseverance, that perseverance that's like sometimes to extremes. And so those kind of people, they might be asking for more feminine, more like flow and like watery, like how can I ease my way into showing, I suppose, showing up in my business and not just being about, the list of things to do. And it goes vice versa with all of the elements. So the fire is that motivating factor, or like that get up and go, that push of action. And sometimes people have really great ideas, but they don't action them. And that's what they're seeking, is that little bit of a more of a like, come on, let's do it, like that cheerleader. And we don't always do that in our own business, because we're just like, wanting to get on to the next task and so on. So the air signs, they are all ideas and can be very mentally busy, but they might not have the action as well. But they, we're speaking a little bit about the Mani-Gens, that we have so many ideas. So I am a Mani-Gen. I have like 5 different projects always, but it excites me. And I also happen to have lots of air in my chart, which is a very similar thing to the Mani-Gen. And air signs are Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. They just think outside the box. They see things in alternate ways. And that is so useful within business. So if my moon sign is Gemini, and it's just like so busy, but it can be to the point where you like pick that up, drop it, pick that up, drop it. And, how can we still have that structure and consistency, but still be like so excited by our ideas and our offerings and our services, and not just, getting kind of bored and moving on to the next thing. The only other sign I haven't mentioned is water, and they are in their flow, right? They're in their emotions. So they might not always feel like doing business. And that's the Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. But at the same time, once they really commit to something, it's a real deep dive, and it's a real stronger connection, because they have that watery commitment of perhaps helping people, or just really being obligated to their responsibilities.
So I'm a Cancerian, but does that mean, I mean, I know that's a water sign, but are there other parts, like if we were to look at my chart, would there be more water elements potentially?
Yeah, so many. So there's
Okay.
12 placements on a basic astrology chart. So 12 points, which creates your balance. So you might have 3 water. So I personally have a real strong balance. So I have like 3, 3, 3, 3, water, air, fire, and earth. But some people might have like 6 planets in just water. So they must be, listening to their emotions. It's a strong guidance system for them. And each element can have its detriments, right? Because if we're just all fire and we just go for it, we might not consider our consequences, or it might be too full on for other people. So there's kind of a shadow to each element if we are more one element.
Yeah. And you've just given me an idea for another episode, actually, because about emotions and how to use them in business, because I am very emotional, especially since I've had kids. I mean, my kids are, what are they, 11 and 16 now, but I have never felt so many emotions. Like I can just be on this roller coaster, right? I was always very sensitive. I was always very emotional, but since having kids, there's something about that part of the journey that's just, I can feel all the colors of the rainbow all at once. Um, but I don't know how to use that in business. And usually, and it's probably my conditioning, usually I just try and shut them down so I can get on with it. But I'm something that I have been curious is learning how to use my emotions for business. So I'm going to investigate that and do do an episode on it so
Definitely.
everybody else can learn
Yeah.
too. Because we're usually told not to be so emotional, right?
Yeah.
So it's if that could be our superpower, then we need to know how to do it.
It's 100% a superpower. And I think we are so conditioned to shut it down because we're too sensitive, we cry too much, or we do this or do that, or we're empaths. But this is our feminine nature, and the feminine is rising. So that's why we have a lot of women that are actually waking up, number one, to that there's more for me. Number two, perhaps it's the motherhood journey that really helps us to listen to our intuition and our emotions are guiding us. They are our guidance system, but we are so easily conditioned to put them to the side because we have to mother, we have to parent. And so whenever there is that, we can, I co-parent my son. So sometimes when he goes to see his dad, it's like, oh, okay, now I can really feel my emotions. But what if we could actually create that space like once a day? Just it's like sometimes just through basic meditation or being in silence, 5 to 10 minutes. I teach my clients this in terms of listening to the energetic system, the chakras, the emotions, and perhaps it's the thoughts, it's the narratives around it. It's still a big part of it. And just asking the body what it needs. And the water signs that, like you most likely have a lot of water because intuitively we always know like what it is that really drives us. And it's actually sitting in the bathtub and using the water energy or going for a swim. And that may create the clarity or the stillness in the body to action something. But if we ignore it and we shove it down, which is essentially a lot of our this masculine paradigm that we live in has been doing that to many women. And get on with your work, get on with being a mother, step up in your business. It's like it's not creating this space for the feminine. And that is where we will have like deep emotional intuitive decisions. That's the only place that I want to work in my business. I'm not in this hustle culture anymore. I don't see that I have to do anything in my business. No marketing strategy is like sometimes it really truly is listening to the body, listening to my chart and who I really am, and continuing to follow the intuitive downloads. So if that does mean working with a particular coach, that's what I'm going to do. So it's still, of course, we still want to get that external support, and that inspires us, that helps us to elevate and be truly, our star-like quality within our business, whatever that looks like for you. But the emotions are, we've spent too much time dissociating or pushing it down. And maybe that's a really great point within you that you're like, oh, I don't really give the space to even listen to it. Not just you, I just mean anyone listening, that sense of like, if this resonates, that's what we want to listen to. We're feeling what resonates rather than just being told. So even when you look at your astrology chart, you may not resonate with parts of it. And that's the gold. That's the magic. It's like, okay, I can probably lean into this more. Or, oh, maybe I have been called to do more painting lately. I don't know why, but maybe that's a place for me to be in my creative flow. And that's when my ideas will come and I'll be able to go action them in my business or with my clients.
Interesting, because I do tend to like I'm just thinking about my human design chart, and if something doesn't resonate, I tend to just overlook it and move on. But I'm hearing that those are the bits that I need to pay more attention to. And
Yeah.
something that keeps coming up again and again is stillness. Like I can't really use all the language of human design, but the ultimate goal for me is to be still, which is so far from who I am on a day-to-day basis. But I did get the intuitive hit that I need to meditate for 10 minutes a day. And it's just clearing this like third eye. And I kind of just imagine that it's almost like a glass of water there and it's just sitting there. And I'm making this stuff up, right? I have no idea what I'm doing. But even just thinking about that little bit in my third eye being clear, like clear water for 10 minutes, it is a game changer and it's
Mm.
free and it's simple and it's 10 minutes.
Yeah. Everyone has 10 minutes. And if we don't do that 10 minutes of meditation, it's because we're self sabotaging or we're resisting our magic, our truth, our authenticity. And it's, you have no idea how strong, ego resistance can be.
Mm.
I see it every day and it's in a number of ways, but we also need to just, push through that, recognize, wow, yeah, I'm really sabotaging myself because every time I go to meditate, there's something that I think of, oh, I haven't done that, or I haven't, it truly is so simple, but yet it's a very underutilized resource because the body knows the way, and that stillness or that water um, is actually like really maybe your whole body is very aligned within the water energy. I'm so fascinated to look at your chart after
Yeah,
and
same.
see, because sometimes it's like the intuition will tell us, and I'll be able to understand how someone's balance is straight away just from some of their conversations. But our conditioning can also play a big part. So it's like trying, we're unraveling, decluttering the stuff that may have come from our life experience, and we're coming back to our true authenticity. And that's the way that business is going to be run, no matter how we do that, because we have the age of Aquarius now that we've stepped into, and the Pluto transit is in Aquarius now too, which is transformation. So whether we like it or not, our transformation is going to be doing things our way and as the star, because Aquarius is very outside of the box, doing things my way. And I have so many people have come to me lately. I just want a side hustle. I want something for me. And, I love being a mom. I love my work, but I want something for me. And that's what a lot of people are drawn to now, because we're seeing different ways that we can have a purpose, but also make money as a result of being in that authentic self, which it's a very high emotional field to be in. And it's like, if we can just act from that place every day, like what an amazing world it would be if we were all within some parts of that, right? We just, even if we're having little glimmers and understanding ourselves more and more as we travel on that journey of business, then we're achieving so many, I suppose, these benefits or advantages all at once, because you are serving and you're helping people, but you're also healing yourself as you do that, discovering more about yourself. And if that's a way that we can sustain, income and have security and do all the things that we want to do, what a beautiful place it could be.
Yeah. And what a gift because,
Yeah.
our mums, our grandmothers, our great grandmothers, like none of them had an opportunity, right? So we have, we have this opportunity to be us and to make more money because we're being us, which is pretty exciting. And it's so funny how you said a little bit ago, how most people, or you said the ego mind will prioritize anything over that 10 minutes of meditation. And what I've been trying to do to bring myself back, because of course that's what's happening. I'm like, no, 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 no. I've got heaps of other things to do, right?
Mm.
But then I'm like, but what if this is the money maker, right? Because I'm doing all these things to build the business and make the money and run the household. But what if my money maker is me sitting there for 10 minutes clearing that space? And
Yeah.
what's the worst that can happen, right? I'm going to come
Yeah.
out feeling great and potentially have an amazing idea. So,
Exactly. It is all from the internal. So we can be hustling, doing all these things that we are told to do. But if our internal is not clear, it is not aligned, it is, the foundation is rocky, then it will take a lot longer. So
yeah.
the internal is and really needs to be the priority. And then when we fill our cup and we come from that place of authenticity and clarity and stillness, then every single action will, it'll run and it will just be flying, rather than this kind of, oh, I've got to keep trying to find this missing puzzle, keep working, keep showing up as my, in that consistent approach. It's actually it's the other way around.
There's so much undoing, like so much undoing. Because I know like we're both managers, and I have a tendency to have a really great idea and then run with it, and then long beyond that energy is dropped out. I'm like, I committed to it, I'm doing it, and blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. And then I feel like I don't get the result that I could have gotten if maybe I just ran with the energy when it was there and then just dropped it. So I'm trying to lean into my human design, but now I want to get my natal chart done as well.
Yeah.
And speaking of, you are offering, like in the show notes, you're offering an astrology business session. Is that right?
Yes, so this is why almost like a different approach. So we can look at our birth chart, but this is information that you can get on the internet. It is just a basic, like these are my planets, these are my elemental balance. But what I want to offer is a Zoom call where you just talk about your business and we look at the astrology placement. So it's not a report, it's a session where we can really tailor it to your needs, and I have your chart up and I speak to it. Your communication placement, your north node, your purpose, the difference between the sun, moon, and rising. There's so much more in there. How you take action is your Mars placement, how you want to show up online, because it will depend on your elemental balance. Should I be more in my emotions? Should I be a little bit more funny and entertaining? Or is it actually really great to have a very structured approach of particular carousels or reels in this way? It's got so much wonderful goodness in it that I really could talk about it for hours. But if you had that tailored approach and you just go really deep into your business, you can come to the session with your own questions and we can go straight into it.
Ah, that sounds so good. I'm definitely
Yeah.
going to be taking you up on that because as you were saying that, even just trying to figure out the right strategy, right? Because I did briefly look into, before I started the podcast, I'm like, maybe it should be a YouTube channel. But that didn't feel right to me. And I was drawn more to the podcast. So it'll be interesting to see if that's in my chart. Like maybe it's something I should be doing, but I'm avoiding, or,
Yeah.
have a wound I need to work through,
Yeah.
or whether the podcasting is the right thing. And then even like Pinterest, because I'm like, okay, I'm turning the podcast episode, and then I make a blog, and then I could shoot, do some stuff on Pinterest and shoot people to the blog. But part of me is like, which part of your brain and conditioning is wanting to do that? Like, are you wanting
Mm.
to do that because you really want to, or because you've been told that you should? So it'd
Yeah.
be really good to know before I jump into Pinterest and learn all the things.
Yes, it is. It's so true, because sometimes we can actually have this extroverted part of ourselves, which is all about community, and it's 11th house. Like, there's all these different houses within astrology too that gives us insight into where we should be leaning into. So for my sun sign is in the 11th house, which is community. And so it's like part of my identity is creating this belonging and, a beautiful community where everyone can help each other. And so it is important for me to do that with my business. But other people might have more of an introverted chart, which is more on the right hand side. And this is about really being considerate about our energy. So if you're going to, like, I show up once a week for a live, doing live tarot, it's something that gives me energy. Like, no joke. It doesn't drain me, it gives me energy, and it's creating community, and it's serving, and I'm practicing my spiritual gifts. So it's a win-win. But if someone didn't have so much of the extroverted placements, then they might be really drained by that, and it's going to detract from other parts of their business. So, it really has to be based on your unique blueprint. And if we're acting from a place of the should, it may not actually be a part of your essence and your magic, and it's actually biting yourself in the foot, shooting yourself in the foot, whatever that saying is.
Either or, I'll bite my foot.
Yeah.
Yes, this is so fascinating to me. My brain is just like so many different applications of this one thing, but I am the one thing, like it's my business.
Yeah.
So I really need to look at myself and be authentic. And as a result, my business will be so much more powerful. So this has been really enlightening. I'm so grateful that you came on and talked to us all about this. And for our listeners, in the show notes, there'll be that link to book a session with Anna.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, is there any other closing remarks, or should we leave it there?
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I do love to talk about astrology. And I think the most important thing is to be able to tap into your intuition within business, because we all have these gifts, and it's not, we don't necessarily have to be using it in a way as a healer or a practitioner, but we all have access. So creating that 10 minutes a day, it is actually so inspiring, I feel, is because you're listening to you and your guidance system, and you are your own wise guide. But it's like that sabotage or the resistance and conditioning and all of these things, they can actually be at loggerheads. And if you can just really create that stillness, you're going to find more access to that truth and authenticity. And what a wonderful way to be able to show up in your business as that.
Yeah. And create your life around it instead of,
Yes, because that's just a big part of it, is how do I want to be in business, and what's my lifestyle going to be like, and how can I tend to my children or my partner, and to create that balance, that's what we're really seeking as well.
Yeah. And again, what a gift, because, I mean, my mum, I don't know, she had 3 kids and worked really, really hard. And she would never have been into astrology, I'm sure, because she's very scientific, which I know science is finally catching up with spiritual, but anyway, don't need to talk about her right now. But the point is, she worked really, really hard, and her mum also worked really, really hard, and I can guarantee that my grandma and my great grandmother did as well. And so, yeah, I just love that we have this opportunity to really see what life can be like when we trust ourselves and listen to ourselves.
Yeah, there is a lot of deconditioning from the ancestral patterns as well. And it's, we are the cycle breakers, but it's for a reason, so that we can have so much more enjoyment in life. And so our children can understand that we don't have to overwork to the detriment of our health or our well-being or our social occasions or our just lifestyle in general. It doesn't have to be done that way anymore.
Yeah, love it. Anna, thank you so much for being here. I really
Thank
appreciate it.
you. Thanks for having me.